Recording and we're rolling. Hello, welcome back to the Magic Library. This is your host, Cass. My name's Cassidy. Call me Cassie. Call me Cass. Call me whatever you feel called to call me, you know? Welcome back to another episode. Today is my first solo podcast and I'm so excited. But I thought I should just go ahead and dive. Sorry, I hit the mic, one. But two, sorry if you hear the dogs barking in the back or Charlie making noise. She wants out. Let me let her out real quick. Thank you for your patience. I thought it would be good to just dive into my journey with dealing with a few disease diagnoses and just kind of what my experience has looked like as I've gone through these things. The whole reason I even wanted to start this podcast, this website, this brand, I guess, is to share my experience through healing, because I believe that we live in such a toxic environment that doing healthy things is the taboo thing, right? Like, we advertise for real food, which is just such a, and being healthy is like she's healthy. I don't know, it's a weird, strange world we live in, but health is not a top priority, and there's a lot of disease, there's a lot of hurt and pain that goes in, that's like in behind the scenes that people don't talk about as much, but I know so many people who aren't fully healthy, you know, and I believe that the body is capable of healing itself, and so through my experience of coming off of like these different medications, I would just like to share one person's perspective of that. So that's what we're getting into today. I have come prepared, so I'm not as anxious as I feel like I should be, but I just am going to walk y'all through what it was like starting from age 12, because that is when my inflammation started in my left knee. That was literally the catalyst. Is that the right? This was the start of it all. I don't know. And I dealt with inflammation for a few years because we couldn't figure out what was going on, what was causing it. I was going to the doctor's appointments. I was getting all the tests done, the CAT scans, MRIs, the blood drawn, the tests, all the things, you know. And we weren't getting any answers. And I was doing stuff like go into the doctor on game days, which was Tuesdays, and getting my knee drained and then playing that night on it. I was doing things like that. And just trying to, you know, continue being an athlete, because I've always been active, and live a quote-unquote normal life, even though this thing was hurting me so bad and it was causing so much, you know, discomfort. And it was starting to get in my way, you know? Like, it started forming a Baker cyst in the back, the size of, like, a golf ball. And anytime... Sorry, I'm excited. And I'm excited to share the story. But, like, anytime I would squat or bend my knee, the ball would tighten up, like, to where I would have to, like, massage it to get it to relax and straighten again. And it was just all these little things that were just becoming real inconvenient, you know. And you can only put up with so much after, you know, a while. Like, my pain tolerance was definitely built during this time. Like, that was the start of what I didn't know was going to be a really long journey. And yeah, I made it through that. I made it through a knee surgery that was just honestly unnecessary, but whatever. They were trying to figure out what was going on. And then it wasn't until my sister was having joint issues and they ended up testing her for arthritis. She was 21 at the time. And I remember my mom calling me and telling me she was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And so, of course, then she demanded my doctors to test me for arthritis, and sure enough, came back. I had ankylosing spondylitis arthritis, and basically it was a lifelong disease. It was just something I was going to have to deal with. And at the time it was like, thank God, now there's a reason to the madness, because I was starting to think maybe I'm going crazy. Maybe I'm just like a hypochondriac or whatever. Like, what's happening? And yeah, so I was told that it was arthritis and we can take medication for it. So like, that'll be cool. And you can just basically go on living normal as long as you just give yourself a shot every week, you know? And so I was like, heck yeah, needles don't even really bother me that bad. You know, I've never really had a problem with that growing up, as like getting vaccines and stuff like that as a kid. And so I didn't start giving them to myself right off the bat. I told my mom I wasn't going to do it till I was 18, because I was like, I'm still a child, and I just don't want to have to do that to myself yet. I will one day, but like, I'm just not there right now. And so we started going to my basketball coach's his house, and his wife was a nurse, and so she would give me my shot every week. And then my mom started doing it, and then whenever I turned 18, I started doing it. And I, you know, just basically like, I started to numb myself to what was going on, and I wasn't, there's just so much that happens in this time frame, right? Like, so from 12 to 15, 3 years, that's a lot was changing outside of my health, like just in my environment and everything. And then whenever I got the diagnosis, it was like, cool, there's an answer, but now I have to take these meds, which like I'm thankful for. They're helping me to be able to like get to play sports and all of these things that I didn't want to have to stop because my arthritis hurt too bad. You know, like I'm too young for that. And so it was just, I basically survived on momentum. And whenever I got, you know, further into high school, like my junior, senior year, I was just constantly staying busy, and so I was just tired. I remember noticing the shift in my energy, and because as a kid, I was the kid that all my friends' parents would be like, "Oh my God, Cassie's coming over," because I would bounce off the walls and I would climb on things, and I just always had so much energy. And I remember thinking like, I do not move around like I used to, and that was just weird for me. And then one day, whenever I was 17, I started having this stomach pain, like this abdominal pain, and on my right side. Good God, I can't talk. And I dealt with it for a few days, and then I went to tumbling class, and obviously that didn't help. And then my mom ended up taking me to the emergency room, and I was there all weekend. They did all these tests. I had to drink all these liquids, all the things. And finally they were like, well, we're going to transport you to the children's hospital, and then they're going to do more tests on you with equipment that we don't have. And long story short, they ended up diagnosing me with Chrohn's disease, which, you know, it's like it's a gut, like in your gut. And apparently the arthritis goes hand in hand with this other disease, and so it was kind of easy for them to be like, oh yeah, you definitely have Chrohn's. But they diagnosed me with it, and I was given like these horse pills that I was supposed to take for it, which was like two big old pills. I think it was Lialda is what it was called. But I had to take those every day, and it was just too much. It was too much with my arthritis that I already had going on. That was causing me to give myself injections every week, and I definitely put my Crohn's on the back burner because I was like, arthritis is enough. And so it was so hard for me to take those pills, like, and I'm normally fine with taking pills, but my body just started being like, like my throat would hurt doing it. So I just didn't refill my prescription, and I just kind of started focusing on my arthritis more. And that was just like a big change that I had to adjust to, was, you know, the possibility of also having that. But ultimately, deep down, like, I just felt like it was too much. Sorry, there's a lot going on my screen right now, and I really need to calm it down. Talking about my laptop sitting in front of me if you're not watching this. Which you can watch it on YouTube, by the way, because I have the video too. Anyways, besides the point. Back to what was going on and when I was at 17 years old, right? So all this, the Crohn's, arthritis, I just want to play sports and date boys and do, dumb high school stuff. And so I was just disconnected from my emotions, but my emotions were all over the place because, of course, I wasn't in tune with my body. So I also wasn't in tune with like my cycles, and it was just a lot going on, a lot of momentum, a lot of just chaos, honestly. And I just was just speeding through it, and he's barking, I'm sorry. I during this time frame from 15 to 20, right? That's whenever you graduate high school. I started shifting more into independence. I started giving myself shots. Like I said, whenever I turned 18, I was like, fine, guess I have to do it. So I did, and I started doing that, and then I'm starting to have to order my own meds, and I'm starting to go to doctor's appointments alone, and it's like all these things that, like, whenever I got an adult, and like whenever I was going through that shift, I was like, this is not what I signed up for. Like, this is not what I wanted to do. It was the biggest headache trying to get my shots ordered because they had to come on ice, and then if they got to room temp too long, then you couldn't use them, and they're like $3,000 a shot, and it's like, so much. And then the doctor's appointments was the same thing every single time because I was, younger than 25 and I could touch my toes. My doctor was like, you're doing great compared to all the other patients in the waiting room, at the rheumatologist. And it was just not what I had ever thought that I never thought that I would get to those points. And then on top of that, I wasn't healthy all the time. I had like all these injuries that had happened that had never healed because my medicine was lowering my immune system. So these little like elbow to the jaw during basketball, and then whenever I tweaked my elbow whenever I was like tubing behind a jet ski, like those things didn't heal properly, and so it turned into TMJ and then tennis elbow and all these things that just like I was having to deal with all this, a bullshit, all this like calling and paperwork and all insurance and all these things while still not feeling good, And so that was just really annoying. And, at this time also I'm, drinking a lot because this is college days, this is party time, and I'm still working out, right? Because I'm cheering in college, but I'm fit, but I'm never healthy, And then mentally I'm just caught up in drama and a whole bunch of stuff that just doesn't really matter. And, there was just so much going on at this time that by the time my second year of cheering in college, when I transferred to a bigger university, and I was doing things like being a bottom for pyramid, which was where two girls would stand on top of me, that I would just, at the end of game days, which is supposed to be such a fun college experience, I was going home miserable, and I would just cry myself to sleep, and it was just getting out of hand. And so by the time I was like 20, I was just over it, and I was tired of having to play that game, because like I said, with the shots, $3,000 a shot. So now I'm going to be coming out of college soon, right? So I'm going to need health insurance. So I'm going to need a job that gives me full benefits so I can have health insurance so that I can get my medication so that I can be kind of okay to like get up and go to work and do whatever. Like like I said, I still had pain even though I was on these medicines. And so I just felt like over time they were slowly not working because I'd started with one and then I built up an immunity to it. And so then I had to switch to another one. And it was like, do I just jump around to different medications my whole life? Like, what am I supposed to do with this? I just felt like the card I was dealt, I was like, no, I don't want that anymore. And there was always tension in my body. And it was just, it was a lot. I'm getting worked up just rethinking about it. But I just started reevaluating where I was putting the little bit of energy and the momentum that I had. I was like, is all this energy that I'm putting into these specific things, are they even worth it? I cheered in college. I think that's cool. I'm glad I got to say I did it. But at the end of the day, it wasn't a reason to kill myself to the point of not being able to get up and go to class, because I was just in so much pain Like, it wasn't worth that. And so this was around the time Jarrett and I started dating, and we decided to quit school and quit our sports and just start traveling. And so that's what we did. And I continued to struggle with ordering meds and finding insurances and different insurance and like the doctor's appointments and all that stuff. I was, sometimes debilitated from my past injuries. Like sometimes I had to call into work because I couldn't touch my head to like put my hair up. I couldn't chew food sometimes because my jaw was just, it hurt so bad. And I just got to the point where I was just desperate for change. I was like, this is not the life I want to live. I was traveling to all these I was doing such cool things. I was traveling to cool places. I was making cool friends in different, like in a different state that I had moved to. I had a cool job where I was teaching people how to throw axes. That's taxing on the body. Heaving a, pound of metal at the wall, like that was getting to me. That was affecting me. It was just these little things, walking around cities, taking flights, the amount of BC powders I had to take, the Tiger Balm patches, just all these little things that just started piling up into one giant thing. And also I could take my medicine, and then the medicine was starting to not even work. And I was just like, this ain't it. There's got to be more to this, because this is, this isn't a good quality of life. And I think I deserve a good quality of life. I do. I think I was put here to have this human experience, and I think I deserve to have a good quality of life in my body. Because ultimately, without my health and without my well-being, it kind of throws everything else that I do out of whack. And suddenly I can't be there for the people I love, and I can't make money because I can't get out of bed. And there's just so many things that whenever I'm in alignment with myself, I feel like myself. And when I look back over this old version of myself that went through all of these ups and downs with pain and the strength and the bravery to go through all of that and to not give up, I'm proud of how I handled all of this in the past, but I didn't know that I was causing a lot of the dis-ease in my body, like I was eating so much junk. I was not nourishing my body by any means, not fueling my body properly. I was caught up in mental stuff that just didn't really matter. But at the time it just meant the world to me, and I just was not taking care of myself. I was numb to my emotions. I didn't know how to process anything because so much had happened in such a short period of time, like from 15 to 20, my dad passed away from cancer. He was diagnosed with cancer. He passed away from cancer. One of my really good friends from high school, she passed away. On top of that, I have like boy problems, like basic teenage stuff. Like there's stuff like that was going on, and I didn't know how to deal with any of that. And so when I started realizing that I can change my quality of life by what I put into my body, everything kind of started changing, and I started things just naturally started falling in line, and I started to listen to like the quietest voice I had, the one in your head that's like the last one to talk, but like the ego is first, right? Ego's like blah, and then it's like your programming, and then like the quietest voice is like your highest self that's like, hey, it's gonna be fine. But there was that voice that was telling me, it would show me signs of like what I need to do, like what type of foods I need. It would send me bits of information through like social media or through people I know. Or one of my friends one day was like, hey, I just had this weird feeling to buy 2 books off of Amazon, and I just feel like I should give you a copy. And it just happened to be the book that I just watched in the documentary the night before. And like things like that just started happening. And I was like, okay, I'm on to something here. And I just started getting out of my own way, And when I started doing that, I realized I don't want to take this shot the rest of my life. And whenever I was learning these new things, my body started rejecting it. And I would insert the needle and then like remove it quickly because I would get so anxious about it, and then I'd have to redo it all over again. And then the fluid wouldn't absorb into my muscle and it would start leaking out. Like there were just things, sorry, that was a lot, but like there's just things that it was getting harder and harder to do that kind of stuff to my body. And I finally was just like, I am 22 years old at that point in time, and I don't feel great on my meds. I'm sick of having to deal with all this stuff just to get the meds and then for them not to work. I'm just tired of this whole cycle I've been stuck in. I believe that the body is capable of healing itself, and if I believe that, then I need to just step out of the way and let it do its thing. And so I had to reprogram so much to get myself out of my own way because I was constantly adding to the disease and I wasn't properly letting things flow through me. I was just storing it in different parts of my body. And I started practicing mobility and movement and just doing walks. And I couldn't even do yoga whenever I first got off my meds because I eventually decided not to do my shots anymore at the end of 2019 after our family trip to New York when I was struggling to walk and sightsee. I was like, I'm done with this and I'm going to see if my body can heal. And so whenever I got off of it, the first 3 months was the hardest. It would take me literally 10 minutes to get up from laying flat on the floor because I would have to feel into each joint of my body to strengthen it to be able to pull the rest of myself up, like from my head all the way down, like to my feet. It was a lot. And there are times when Jarrett had to carry me, and put me into the bathtub because the weight on my joints in bed was so uncomfortable that it just caused pain. But the whole time I was confident it was for a reason, and there was a bigger purpose at play. And I never once wanted to go back to the meds. And so I didn't. And, the end of this year will be 3 years that I'll be without meds, which is, I feel like, very exciting for me to say. But it's not because I'm some special person. I've just started paying attention to we're all the most beautiful beings, and we're capable of so much more than we give ourselves credit for. And we're really so simple, and there's a lot to be found in revisiting your childhoods because that was just such a magical time, and that can do a lot of good for you. It did for me, like going back to my childhood and just remembering what it was like to play and then start doing those activities as an adult to get movement into my body and to just practice like the movement of just having fun again. I hadn't done that in so long, and through those small little bits of movement, I was able to come back into myself. And the girl that I used to see in the mirror who was swollen from probably alcohol and medication and was just filled with processed foods in her gut, and I didn't know her in the mirror. I genuinely didn't recognize myself, and I didn't feel like I resonated with the body that I had. And then now I feel so good in my little meat suit, like I feel like this is my home and I'm proud of it and I treat it with respect and I want to fuel it to the best way I can, because when you're not healthy, it takes away so many other things around you to the point where you're desperate to literally do anything. You will do anything to get out of that state of just not feeling good. And the thing with healing is it is your body's natural state. It wants to heal. It doesn't want to be held back by all these filler foods and these toxins that are around us and these medications that are causing more harm than good, and it's being divinely guided, it seems, for humans to start waking up to all these toxins in our society that weren't here a few hundred years ago. We didn't deal with cancer like this and these diseases and arthritis in children. Like, what a weird world to live in, I mean, we advertise for real food. We there's just so many things that it's so backwards here. Of what we think is okay. It's a lot, it's a lot, but in doing what you can to better yourself, you better the people around you. I've noticed such a ripple in my people, like a ripple effect of like one little thing I'll change, whether it's like the water I drink or the organic food I buy or the types of honey I get. Like, there's little things here and there that my family or my friends would be like, ooh, I started getting this one, and then we like connect over it, and it's like one small little thing, but it's so exciting because it's like, ooh, we're on the move to live a healthier life, and the goal is always longevity. It's how long can I have the healthiest body I can, because without this body, I'm not going to be here, so like I might as well keep this in mind with every decision I make, which is hard to do, and I'm not perfect by any means, but it's doable, and the more you do it, the easier it gets. And then you get to a point where it's like, I haven't felt better. I have days where I don't feel good, and I've noticed my cycles and my patterns, and I know whenever I'm going down and when I'm going to feel better, and I pay attention to how I'm treating my body, and I have a language with my body now where I know she's going to tell me when something's up, and it is such a beautiful thing. And I think I just pray everyone could feel more connected with themselves. And I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I can't tell you how to do it. That's why I want to create this library, so you have a place to come and see other people's experiences on how they've done it, and maybe just take the little bits and pieces that resonate with you and then just leave the rest, you won't change overnight. It's going to be a long process. So like, just pick up a little bit here and there, and then you'll look back from like you'll look over the last 2 years, and you'll be like, wow, I'm a completely different person than I was whenever I started all of this, It's so exciting, but I'm glad you're here. Thank you for listening to my story, and kind of encouraging me. A few of you have messaged me and told me like good things that you think about the episodes, and that makes me really, really happy. And so I hope that this gets you excited and makes you want to come back next week to listen. But yeah, okay. I still need to work on uploading you to Apple, but we're on Spotify. You can go over to YouTube and watch the video too. But thank you guys for listening for my first solo pod. I think I did good. This is only my second time recording it, so I feel like that's a win for me. But yeah, okay. I don't know how to end the episode, so I'm not gonna ramble anymore. I'm just gonna say bye and end it. Okay? Okay, goodbye.